Hello, everybody. Today I'm going to be talking about Rudyard Kipling's If. I made some bio notes on his life. Very interesting guy, a lot of experiences that kind of played a significant role in the things that he wrote. He was born in the British colony in India, in Bombay, India, which is now, it's not called Bombay anymore, it's called Mumbai. He was an English short story writer, a poet, novelist, chiefly remembered for his celebration of British imperialism, his tales and poems of British soldiers in India, and his tales for children. Which, if you ask someone, what they think of when they hear Rudyard Kipling, they automatically will say The Jungle Book. It's a very beloved classic children's book. It's been, it was a Disney movie, a cartoon movie, and I think they've recently actually did a live adaptation of it, or live-ish. I think the tigers and the panther and the snake are all um, CGI. I'm pretty sure. Anyway, so take a look at those notes and check out his background information. It'll help you with that. Interesting. He won a Nobel Prize for Literature in 1907, and several other awards. So definitely something to take a look at. And actually, he's probably, after Alfred Lord Tennyson died, the poet who was the British Poet Laureate, died in 1892. A lot of scholars say that Kipling kind of took his place as the most popular poet of Britain. So check that out. Today we're going to be talking about If, and I really love this poem. When I think about poems that are meaningful and just really kind of pack a punch, personally for living your life and being brave and being courageous and being stoic even in the face of adversity. I always think about William Ernest Henley's Invictus, and then I also think about If. So it is great advice on how to live your life, and it takes the reader through the various ways which you can kind of rise above the adversity that you're going to face. It's a surety in life, like death and taxes. You're going to face some adversity, and how to kind of keep your head about you, and how to treat others. And so I think that it just packs a lot in, and I'm really excited that this is in the canon for this class. So um, it also is kind of like a mathematical proof. It kind of has that feeling about it, that if then kind of scenario, like if you could do this, then this is what will happen kind of thing. And so he gives lots of if scenarios, and then the then at the end in the final two lines, that if you have done all of these things that I've just kind of told you about, you can have the world at your fingertips, but you will also be a man. And don't read that as in gender specific, but you'll come to live to your fullest potential, right? So, this poem is probably one of the best examples of Victorian Stoicism. We talked about the things that were kind of important, the characteristics of Victorian literature. So, you have living a good life, having a good moral compass, making the right choices, the moral choices, making the most of sorry, I have the hiccups. The most of every minute that you're given, that kind of thing. He wrote this poem, um, kind of. He was inspired by this. It's kind of just like a blip in British history, but there was a group of British expatriate workers that were working in Rhodesia in Africa, and they created, like, they got this plan together. They were going to recruit an army and rise up against the South African Republic, that was kind of led by this guy named Paul Kruger, which, if history shows us nothing good comes out of someone named Kruger, well, maybe not history, but definitely murder or Nightmare on Elm Street for sure. So, but this thing never happened. It never took place. They made all these plans and it never happened. And it actually was an embarrassment to the British government, and they tried to like sweep it under the rug, and they replaced their like director, or not director, but like their governor that was there at the time with this little colony thing. Um, so, but it didn't happen. But Kipling was still very impressed by the tenacity of Leander Starr Jameson, who was going to be this leader of this Jameson's raid in overthrowing this government. And so that's what this poem is all. Well, that was the inspiration for this poem, but not what this poem is really all about. Just kind of like a little good historical context there for you. Okay, so the poem itself is four stanzas of equal length, 8 lines, so octaves. Each stanza has a set rhyme scheme. The first stanza is different. It has an A, B, C, B, C rhyme scheme, and then all the rest of the stanzas have an A, B, A, B, C, D, C, D scheme. The written iambic pentameter, which means you have 10 syllables per line. Each set of syllables is divided into a foot, so 5 feet per line. And there's an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. Kipling makes it very personal. He uses the pronoun you. It's direct address to the reader, and it's one long sentence. Like the whole thing is like one long sentence that ends in ending punctuation there at the end. Published for the first time in 1895. I mean, written in 1895, published in 1910 in a collection of poems. And so let's take a look at this poem. We'll read it stanza by stanza and break it down. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you. If you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting or being lied about, don't deal in lies. Or being hated, don't give way to hating. And yet don't look too good nor talk to us. So he doesn't waste any time setting up that if then scenario that I was talking about. If you can keep your head up when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, it's important to be able to maintain a level head, even when those around you don't have one, and even when they're blaming the situation or what is happening on you. You got to keep your head, keep your wits about you, keep your cool. Then he has, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too. The two traits that all people must possess: self trust, trust yourself, and the ability to understand the thoughts and feelings of others. Having empathy, even if they're not like yours, and even if they don't agree with you or even like you, right? Learning to recognize that is just a lifelong trait, that you want to possess. Being able to empathize and understand other people's points of view, kind of being able to walk in their shoes, even if it's not like yours and even if they don't like you. And then finally, the last 4 lines there. If you can wait and not be tired by waiting, that last 4 section, have patience. Even if you're lied about, don't stoop to the level of being a liar yourself. Even if you're hated, don't be a hater. And then don't appear to be better than who you really are. Don't look too good. Don't talk too wise. Don't talk in a manner that doesn't reflect who you are, morally or spiritually. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster, and note that he capitalizes triumph and disaster as personifying those two things, and treat those two impostors just the same. If you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them with worn out tools. Build them up. So he continues with the if then. He structures it just slightly different here. We have it rolls into the next line. So the if clauses are kind of building upon previous lines. So if you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, it's important to dream. It's important to think for yourself, but don't get so caught up in your dreams and your thoughts that you lose your grasp on what is real and what reality. The personification of triumph and disaster, if you can meet those and treat them just the same. The diction here is worth mentioning. The word imposter suggests a pretense or a disguise, right? Perhaps it's to showcase that they're fleeting. Success never stays. Disaster never stays. It doesn't last forever. Additionally, those things often come with disruption or with change, right? So, any case, don't dwell too much on either one because they're not going to last forever. They're going to disappear. And then finally, in there, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, or not finally, but if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, you got to be able to endure hearing other people take your words and twist them, dishonest and harmful people taking your words and twist them for their personal gain. Um, yeah, because that never happens, right? In our lives, definitely, something that we all experience. Or watch the things that you gave your life to broken and stoop and build them with worn out tools. It's so important to be able to pick yourself up even if you fail and start again. Always be prepared to start again, even if something takes you a lifetime. It's never too late to start again. If you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss and lose and start again at your beginnings and never breathe a word about your loss. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone. And so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. I love this one. I love this stanza. So you have the first four lines is kind of very similar to the last two lines of the previous stanza. If you lose everything, you must be willing to begin again. Not only that, but you must also be able to put it behind you, to forget about it and not dwell on it. If you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone. And so hold on when there is nothing in you except the will which says to them, hold on. Probably my favorite four lines of the poem. Really particularly powerful. And you got to be able to endure. Even if that feels both physically, which is sinew, right? Your muscles, the sinew, and emotionally, which is your heart and your nerve. Even if that feels physically and emotionally impossible, you got to be able to endure. And you got to hold on, right? Accept the will which says to them, hold on. Another one of those words that he's capitalizing, making it kind of a power that's separate from you, from the person you who possess the will, right? It is its own entity, the will, which says to them, hold on, just hold on, endure. If you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings, nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can feel the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son. So, in the fourth stanza, the consequences of doing all these ifs, if you will follow this advice, is revealed, but not before he gives us three more scenarios. So, the first one, if you can talk with crowds or walk with kings, it shouldn't matter with whom you're walking or whom you're talking. You got to treat the highest of the high and the lowest of the low exactly the same, and that's with kindness. Keep your virtue. And then if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, it's important to be able to bounce back from disappointment or pain. Don't dwell on your enemies. Don't dwell on the hurt that a loved one could potentially cause. And then finally, if you can feel the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, don't waste a single second of the time that you're given. Fill every second of every minute of every hour of every day of every year of your life with something. Be something every minute. And then if you do all these things, yours is the earth and everything that's in it, And which is more, you'll be a man, my son. If you're able to do all these things, though, you'll have the world at your fingertips. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And more than that, you'll be a man, my son. And let's not think that gender specific, even though he uses the word man here. It's the epic fulfillment of your purpose, right? Your life's purpose. You'll be whatever it is you are, man, woman, you will fulfill that purpose that's set for you in your life.